Welcome to Promote Profit Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark, and today it's just me, but I have some important things to say to you guys. So before we get started, remember to go over and grab your free copy of Breakthrough Author Magazine. You can find it at breakthroughauthormagazine.com. Once you sign up, you'll have it dropped into your in-basket the first of every month. So lots of tips and tricks on publishing, platform building, marketing, all those things. For those of you who think that writing the book is the hard part, boy, are you in for a big surprise. And that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, is being able to self-publish your own books. We're seeing a lot of it lately, and we're seeing a lot because of the economy. People are trying to save money. But some things that you have to consider is, do you know enough? Are you really saving money, or are you sort of making a spectacle of yourself? And here's why. I'll explain. I've had an engineer as a client, and that engineer has a specialty. That specialty, let's say, is building airplane parts, which it is. So he's not an expert at publishing, and I'm not an expert at building airplane parts. And while you may understand or think you understand what all is entailed in the publishing industry, chances are you really don't. And there are people who do know, who are judging your output and what you've done. Now, I'll give you an example. I mean, I may be able to speak to the aeronautical engineer who builds those parts, but I don't think there's any point where he would actually invite me to build the parts. And secondly, I don't think there's any universe where you would actually get on the plane where I had built the parts for the inside of the plane. So I think you can kind of see with that analogy, the same is there with the public world, with the publishing world. If you don't know what you're doing, chances are your output is not going to be great. And if you're thinking of writing subsequent books, you could be in real trouble, because people looking at your book and at your audience and considering a publishing contract, they're going to have all those numbers from that first book. They're going to be able to pull it up. They're going to be able to see, did you publish on Amazon? Did you publish on Ingram? They're going to be able to look at the look inside and see, does that ISBN page look professional, or does it not? Does it have everything it needs, or does it not? So there are a lot of things there that you need to know. So what I'm going to cover today are most of the things that I see right now where there is a big failure on this. But before I go there, I want to get in. We have a sponsor. I'm so excited. We actually have two sponsors. The other one has not stepped up yet with the script for me. But so give me a little break here. It's the first time I've ever really read an ad for you guys. So let's cut to the chase on this whole living forever thing. Can we? Can we do that? Ever wonder why some folks age like fine wine and others look like they've got an expiration date that's coming soon, and they probably shouldn't at their age? Well, that's because they've got the energy of a toddler on a sugar high. And where do they get that? They get that from LifeWave. So LifeWave is a product that is holistic. I absolutely love it. I use it myself. That's how I ended up being a sponsor. It is a patch. And you put the patch on your body for about 12 hours every day. And there are different patches. There are patches for sleeping. I prefer the X39, and I do because it builds stem cells back. And if you're as athletic as I am at 63 years old, everything hurts all the time. Yes, wine, Juliet. So I'd love to have you try something very holistic. You can get rid of the acetaminophen, or, whatever it is you use. I think it's ibuprofen, not acetaminophen. You can get rid of all that and live a pain-free life. You can do that. Check it out today. If you're ready to reclaim your youth and strut around like a boss and heal as fast as a superhero, you're going to love this. You can schedule a free consultation over at calendly.com/thefoolishcouple/superbrand. Once again, calendly.com, thefoolishcouple/superbrand. How'd I do, guys? Yeah, you can go ahead and write. This is my first time. The first time you do anything, it sucks. So give me a break. check out LifeWave X39 and see if it's for you. I can personally vouch for the fact that when I use it, I am pain-free. So back to the publishing. I'm seeing more and more of people self-publishing, and then they're bringing us their books to fix. So I'm going to start with, what are you publishing and what do the standard versions look like? So one of the things that happened recently was a new client had written a fiction novel, and she released it in Kindle, softcover, and hardcover over on Amazon. Now, Amazon does not have a way to truly put together a fiction hardcover the way it looks. What they do is called case laminate, and it literally looks like a children's book. So if you've ever bought a book for your child, or even a journal where it has that very hard cover, and then you open it up and the pages inside they're pretty durable, but it's that case laminate cover that is the big deal. The first thing I said to this woman who brought it to me was, that's not what a fiction hardcover looks like. You want a laminate with a jacket. And so that's what we did. We went back and we released it, and we put together the publishing package that looked right for that. So she now has a hardcover that is a real hardcover with a jacket. Now, why is that important? Well, she has a series planned. And what we'd like to do is for her to be able to build the audience for this series that will get her a proposal and a real book contract next time with a real publishing company, a traditional. But in order to do that, they're going to look at the book she currently has on the market, and they're going to see that it wasn't really published well. And no skin off her. It's you don't know what you don't know. So that's one of the big things we see, is the version that you're publishing really an industry standard? Is it something that, if it had been done by a publishing company, would look the way you're publishing? So let's move on to the second part of that. The cover, the ISBN page that goes inside. She didn't have an LCCN, the Library of Congress control number, and she didn't have all of the ISBNs listed. So those are little things that you don't know when you don't know either. You're supposed to have the name of a publishing company in there with an address. That's what the Library of Congress wants to see. And that book, if it's not registered, doesn't go into the Library of Congress. So one of the things we went back again and did was collected all of our ISBNs and applied for a Library of Congress number. So now that front page, probably that first page or second page past the title that you open, looks professional. And if you're on Amazon and you're using that look inside feature, which everyone should be using, so you can get a little taste of the book, that's the first thing they're going to look at. They're going to open it up and see, oh, this page isn't right. So this is somebody who didn't publish professionally. Now, on to other things. Metadata. So we went in and we changed all of her metadata as well when we republished. And by the way, she was already published with a soft cover and the Kindle download on Amazon. So we actually went and we changed where she published that hardcover. We went ahead and had to put it through Ingram Lightning Source for her. But that opened up a whole new bunch of possibilities. So let me explain. One of the things that Amazon has are categories, and categories are not based on publishing industry standards. So what does that mean? Amazon has taken algorithms, they've taken purchase stats, they've done a whole bunch of things, and they've created, last I checked, about 16,000 categories. And so when you publish with Amazon, when you self-publish, you don't have access to BISAC codes, which are the industry standard. What they give you are tried and true categories that have sold on Amazon. Now, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Well, if you're trying to get an Amazon bestseller, it can be a good thing. We recently had a client in January where we actually asked them to open up new categories because the book didn't fit. So needless to say, when you're the only one in a category, you can get to number one pretty quickly, but that's not what we want. We want to sell books. But if it is something where a category could be useful, and I'm going to give you a great example. After 2020, DEI all of the things that happened in 2020, we started to see more Black categories, African American categories, African categories. And so that's a good thing. That's what we did with James' book, is we actually asked them to open some new categories under Black spirituality, Black religion, things that weren't in there before, but definitely should be, because we're seeing more and more of those books. So that is the Amazon side. And if I pull up a book and I look at the hardcover, softcover, and I see Amazon only categories and no BISAC codes, I know that you published this yourself. And that doesn't, if it's right or if it's wrong, it's not a big deal, but I'm going to know that I'm dealing with someone who's going to try to tell me that they know what they're talking about. And chances are they really don't. So what are BISAC codes? BISAC codes are industry standard codes that the publishing industry uses. There are far less than them, so you do really have to dig deep into the categories. Now, if you're publishing on an Ingram or a Lightning source like we do, then chances are you're given the opportunity for 3 of those BISAC codes. And so when your book comes up on Amazon, it has the standard codes. Here's the other thing I'm going to tell you about that. If you're out in the media, and let's say you're working with Jackie Jordan, one of our TV media specialists, she's going to prepare a book one sheet for you. And that book one sheet is going to have BISAC codes on it. And so if you're passing around a media one sheet with categories instead of BISACs, I've actually been to her workshop or her, wait a minute, did I go? I can't remember if I went with the producers there. The producer, when you tell them you're an Amazon bestseller and these are my 3 categories, they're going to laugh you off. They probably aren't going to take you for that interview. And the reason is they're looking at that one sheet and they're saying, no, this is a self-published book. There's too much manipulation that can go on, and we're not going to take this person as an expert. So it is important when someone looks inside or looks at that product description and sees BISAC codes instead of categories. So here's the other. When we have a hybrid book and we put the ebooks through CoreSource actually gives us the opportunity for a lot more BISAC codes. The BISAC codes and the categories are how people can find you. So when they search, it's a combination of that and keywords. So if they're searching and you are not in the right place, they're not going to find you. And that's why we love it when our people are put through CoreSource and LS. And we like it because we have 13 different codes we can put them, 13 different possibilities that people can find them. So that's why that is so, so important. Now, next, metadata, keywords. You can actually use some AI. We use AI now to grab the keywords for books. We do it for ads, and we do it for the keywords that we put into the platforms. So Amazon's going to ask you for 7 keywords. LS is going to ask you for keywords, and CoreSource. So think about that. I have 3 platforms. I have the possibility for a lot of keywords. And if you remember, when it goes out to the distributors, they're all connected together. So I can click on a hardcover and get one set of BISACs. I can click on a soft cover, another, and click on the ebooks and have a whole different set. So you're really maximizing your metadata by doing that. And here's the reason why I'm loving AI in this process, is because when I ask you guys what your keywords are, a lot of times I don't get what I get from AI. And AI is actually looking at your book and evaluating if you have those keywords in your book. Can you kind of see how that would be important? Because if people are putting in and searching by keywords, and remember, Amazon, more than anything, is a search engine. So if you're doing this by keywords and those keywords are in your ad, or if they're in your book, or if they're put in there, Amazon's going to pick them up because that's what they do best. So your keywords matter, and having those keywords on as many platforms as possible matters, and making sure they're the right keywords matter as well. A lot of times what happens is the book developer will go back and the keywords will come later. And that's where the keywords that you give us don't match what AI that actually scanned your book came up as the keywords in the book. And remember, when you're on Amazon, you can put keywords on the ad, but it's also looking at the algorithm that's what is actually in the book. It scans the book. So that's the next thing I want you guys to be really aware of is, are your keywords really your keywords? Because that's how people are finding you. Okay, last but definitely not least, when you're putting together ads, ads on Amazon are your best way to do this because they will only charge your card when someone has purchased. So those keywords are very important for ads as well. And so when you run them through the software, the AI software, make sure that they are there. We have AI software now that we can run your book through and look at what you came up with as a back cover copy, which is part of the algorithm as well, and what the AI said your back copy should look like. So there are a lot of tools out there right now that can really, really help you. But what is most important in all of this is that you get it right if you choose to self-publish. Is self-publishing the way to go? For some people, maybe. It depends on what you want your book to be about. If your book is a nurture tool for your business, then you want it as professionally polished as possible, because probably more than likely the keywords that you're putting in that book, putting in that description, putting into all of those platforms, those BISAC codes, everything is probably the same, leading to those big ticket items that you have on the other end. Because remember, that book is a nurture tool. It's an introduction to you. And a lot of people have the same information that they teach. When I know for me, and probably my clients as well, they hire based on how they resonate. And if those keywords, if that personality, they resonate with how you come across in your book, chances are they're going to explore those big ticket items. Those big ticket items are important because most people do not get ROI from their book. Let me repeat that for you. Whether it's self-publishing or hybrid publishing, they do not get the ROI back from the book. The ROI is going to come from where you lead them next. So thank you all for stopping by today. Short and sweet, but I just want you to kind of know the pitfalls out there, because we're seeing so many people that come to us after the fact for book marketing that we're really taking a hard look at and saying, you got to get this book right before you get out there and market it, because right now you're not marketing your best product. All right, see you guys next week.